That's nice.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. This is the power of presence as it relates to the practice of Ayurveda, Marma therapy, and polarity therapy. And would you like to introduce yourself first?
Sure. I'm Amadea Morningstar. I'm a polarity therapist and an Ayurvedic educator and also yoga teacher.
And I'm Sarah McDaniel, Valencia. And I'm a polarity practitioner and a licensed massage therapist and a holistic kinesiologist and a craniosacral therapist. And we're here today. I'm so excited that you are joining us.
Yeah. Welcome.
Welcome. It's nice to see everybody, even if you're watching the recording. It's nice to have you.
Yeah.
So, I've been reflecting a lot on presence lately, and with everything that has been happening lately in the news, with everything that we're gearing up for the election in 2020, and all of the ramping up that the politicians are getting as we approach 2020, and just how quickly time is moving lately too, how fast things are, how busy, how much of everything there just seems to be in our day-to-day lives. And so the first thing that I just wanted to invite you to do is really just call your attention to this moment, to your physical location, to where you're sitting or standing if you're standing.
Lying down if you're
lying down, exactly. Where your feet are on the floor, where your hands are in space. So where your physical body is located, where your mind is. You know, you might have all kinds of thoughts and to-do lists for the day. So what are you thinking of? And just see if you can call your attention to this video for the next few minutes. Where your emotional state is, like what's feeling up for you. Where is your attention? And just see if you can call it to this moment. So the idea of just being here right now. And take a few deep breaths with me as you call all of your attention to this moment. And you can leave your eyes open or close them. And I invite you to breathe into your lower abdomen if you can. And when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. And if you're not ready, go ahead and pause the video. Or so presence is really about being in the moment, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So calling all of the parts of yourselves, all of the different aspects of yourself to the moment. And
I really appreciate it by that way. I mean, it just really helped me ground in this moment.
Good.
Really
Good.
Yeah. So thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you. I appreciate the feedback. So presence can be, calling your attention to the moment when you're doing a video with a colleague and you're talking to people that you may or may not know. It can be when you are working, whatever your work is. It can be when you're doing the dishes. It can be when you're taking a walk in nature or in the city. Mm-hmm. You can be present to any aspect of life, to any relationship. I find that with my 4-year-old son, it's really helpful to be present in relationship to him. Because if I'm not present, oftentimes he's not present, meaning he doesn't listen. So it's really helpful in all aspects of life. One of the relationships that I find, or that I've been reflecting on lately, is being present with myself. It's easy to be present with others. Sometimes it's easy to be present, in a big meeting or work scenario. But sometimes being present to myself is a lot more challenging. I tend to think about all the things that I have to do, and I just don't have time for myself. I just don't have time for, I don't have time to feel that right now. I don't have time to, sit with myself right now. I don't have time to meditate right now. Whatever the story is that I don't have time for, I often find that I'm not making space for myself and I'm not being present with myself. So this type of practice, so often for myself and also for my clients, I see it leading to feelings of anxiety, depression, fear, all of the ways that we can get ungrounded and, out of our center, right?
What I sometimes call abandoning myself.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Abandoning ourselves for, something that's more important.
Yeah.
And really, what's more important than yourself and being present to yourself and to your moment. So I just want to invite you to see if you can catch yourself in that. See if you can catch yourself when you're abandoning yourself, when you're dismissing your feelings because it's not convenient.
Sometimes I do a question like, for myself, for my clients, it's like, are you willing to be present?
Yes.
For yourself? Or are you willing to be present in this moment?
Yes.
So that's what we ask you now.
Yes. Are you willing? Exactly. Beautiful. Beautifully said. Are you willing to be present to yourself in this moment?
And what would that feel like?
And what would that feel like? Yeah. One of the things that a colleague actually brought up to me recently was how she was having thoughts, being in a crowded store in a crowded marketplace, because after the weekend with 2 shootings and then another one in the week, was somebody going to come into the store where she was, the crowded store where she was, and find them, and start shooting. And so these fears arise, and I think they're very valid. And just opening to them, allowing ourselves to open to that, to listen to that, to accept our feelings, whatever they might be, even if it's fear, even if it's,
or anger,
or
without necessarily having to act on anything,
right.
Just letting ourselves be
aware, just letting ourselves feel our feelings, accepting them, whatever they might be. Yeah. So the other thing that, in this way, the other thing that I was thinking about that is that in this way, we're able to, one, not abandon ourselves, like you were saying, but also in a way, we're advocating for ourselves. We're making ourselves a priority. And I have to tell you, each one of you is a priority. So I think we're able to heal. We can trust that the feeling, whatever it is that's coming forward, is valid and is there to teach us something. It's there for our growth. It's there for our development. It's there for our healing. It's there as an opportunity to open us up to deeper connection, maybe with ourselves, maybe with spirit, maybe with a loved one. But anyway, I think we can trust that feeling, and trust where we are. So anyway, I just wanted to invite everybody to experience that, play with that over the next month, until our next Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
And go ahead.
Yeah, to kind of amplify on that, sir, I really appreciate what you're saying in terms of you're bringing the kind of presence that you also bring to a polarity therapy session.
Absolutely.
You know? And that's when we talked about the power of presence, which is the title of this Zoom. It really feels like being in the present moment, and you being in the present moment as you work with a client, as you hold with your own feelings, is where the power is.
It is.
And
absolutely.
And oftentimes we'll stray into the past or the future. And yet when we invite ourselves back to the present moment, that's where the power is. And there are things we can do to address the future or the past. And yet where the energy is, and this is all about energetic healing, where the energy is in this present moment, which for us is as we're recording it, and for you it's as you're watching it. I wanted to talk a little bit about two areas of presence.
Please.
One was being present in work, and the other was being present with eating. Because
so important. Yes,
yeah,
so important.
And this is really brief. But so in terms of whatever your work is, we bring presence to our work as polarity therapists. I bring presence to my work with Marma therapy, the therapeutic touch of Ayurveda. I bring presence to my work with people in terms of Ayurvedic education. And the thing about being present and aware is that it's exciting. I mean, it's like that's where the juice is. And so as you're present with yourself and also whoever you're with, there's an excitement that can happen. Whereas when we let ourselves get distracted, either by thoughts of the future or thoughts of the past, then the whole moment loses energy. So simply being present with yourself as you're working, and it doesn't have to be healing work. It could be, or any work can be healing.
Absolutely.
So it might be that you're working in a state job, or you might be, working in the garden, or you might be there's lots of different places we work. And yet to bring awareness to that moment is going to be part of preparing both to train as a polarity therapist, and also, if you're not interested in training as a polarity therapist, to be totally alive and healing for yourself in the moment.
Absolutely.
The other thing that I flashed on as you were talking, Sarah, because it was so eloquently, was that there's also, we can be present when we're eating or not. And sometimes it's nice to just smoosh, you're just like, it's like, you're just relaxing with your loved ones or whatever. And yet if you're working to change patterns, and I work with this a lot in my practice, if you're working to change patterns, there's a place in the flow. I talk about Patanjali's spiral, or the wisdom of Patanjali, and how we use our minds. And one of those places in terms of shifting patterns is what we do with desire and action. And yes. Oftentimes when some kind of desire comes up, I'm not even going to list any,
Yes, right.
Like Ghostbusters, right?
Right.
Just cancel clear.
Yes.
But say some desire for some kind of food comes up, then the next thing that happens energetically is that we need to act on this in some way. And so we have choices about, whether we're going to get this food or not get this food, or choose some other choice. And yet what happens in that moment between desire and action, between kama and karma, is that we want to stay awake and present, because our old patterns will take us over if we go to sleep, we stop being present, we kind of succumb to numbness. And the next thing we know, we've done this action, and it's like, oh my goodness, what was I doing? So simply being present when something arises, whether it's an uncomfortable feeling,
Right.
as you were saying,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe a desire you judge,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Right.
There's lots of choices.
Yeah.
And so I play with this a lot in my practice as a nutrition educator.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the key things is just getting more skilled at being present.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nothing flashy, and yet it's a skill like a muscle that, you know, it's like we need to work on.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just really glad that you came up with this topic for today, because I was like, yes.
Yeah. It's a juicy one.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure. Good. And so, Amadea, I think you were going to discuss also how you integrate, how you integrate.
Actually, I wanted to save.
Okay.
Next time we wanted to talk more about why we're going to be integrating Ayurveda and Marma therapy into our polarity training. And yet that feels like a whole other chunk.
It does. Yeah.
So
I just wanted to check in and make sure.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And were you going to do any kind of demo around doing and being? And so that's what I want to give us space for.
Okay, great. And then we'll open up for questions.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So if you'll I invite you to close your eyes and just maybe take a deep breath. And when you're ready, you can place one hand over your heart or in the center of your chest, and one hand on your abdomen. And I just invite you to notice how that feels. And as you notice how that feels, you might notice if you feel a relationship between the areas where your hands are on your body. Just inviting you to notice. And after spending a few seconds with that, I invite you to switch places with your hands. So switch them around. Yes, that's a good idea. You can rub them together first and then switch places. And as your hands settle in these areas, in the same areas of your body, but it's a different hand on each area, just notice the sensation there, or sensations. Is it different from before? And see if you can check in on the relationship between the two places where your hands are in your body. And if you notice anything about that, are they communicating? Do they feel connected? And when you're ready, when you feel like you've gotten that, take your hands off your body. Rub them together, brush them off, and then open your eyes for a moment. So we're going to do a second part of the exercise in just a second, but first I want to tell you that in this part, we're going to attend to the fact that your right hand, so it's backwards, your right hand is the outgoing energy, the yang energy that moves outward, right? And the left hand is your incoming energy. It moves inward. And so as you're placing your hands this time, I'm going to have you choose where you want your hands to be. If you feel like you need more grounding, you would put your right hand on top and your left hand on the bottom. That'll bring your energy down into your body. If you switch them, your left hand up top and your right hand at the bottom, that'll bring your energy upward, right, into the more mental states, right, mental aspects of your being. So I want you to do this intentionally. Think about it. What feels better to you? Maybe you have a lot of things that you need to get done today and you want to be really sharp mentally. So you put your left hand on top, moving that any grounded energy or any stagnant energy upwards, right? Get you motivated and get you firing on all cylinders, we say, right? Or if you really need to ground because you're already scattered or feeling like you want more grounded energy as you move through your day, feel free to put your right hand on top. And I want you to just notice how that feels when you're using an intention with your hands. Mm-hmm. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So however you want, I invite you to do that, and we'll hold that for a few seconds and I'll let you know. Okay? Here we go. And you can close your eyes or not, whatever feels right. So I'm just And so as you place your hands with this intention, focus on the energy wherever your right hand is. And invite it to move towards your left hand. And just notice how that feels to you. Don't forget to breathe as you're doing this. Okay. And when you're ready, you can release those areas of your body. Brush off your hands if you like. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we can open it up to questions. If anyone has questions about one of us, about what we've just spoken about presence, or about any of the modalities we named, Ayurveda, Marma therapy, polarity therapy.
Actually, something came to me as we were doing this where I'd love to.
Please.
This is a good example. So we've used these key points several times, and
yes.
And something that we haven't said as we've worked with these points, and part of the reason that we use these points is that in Ayurveda, there's what's known as home sites of the doshas.
Yes.
Like the place that a dosha wants to come home.
Yes.
And the home site of kapha is that the earthy, watery energy inside is here in the center of the chest. And then the home site of Pitta is right at the belly, where we've been working a lot. What we haven't worked with yet has been the home site of Vata, which is, it's in the lower abdomen, halfway between the navel and the pubic bone. And so when we touch these areas, we can also send out an invitation that these doshas calm down and come home. And there's all different ways. We'll be playing with this both in the trainings we're doing and possibly in future Zooms. But to know that this is one way that Ayurveda and polarity therapy integrate. And then the other thing to know is that these are also key Marma points in Ayurveda and also yoga. So the center of the chest, the Sanskrit name for this point is Hridaya, Hridaya. The Sanskrit name for, which is, and so that the center of the chest being the home site of Kapha. The center of the navel being the home site of Pitta is called Nabhi, Nabhi, which is literally Sanskrit for navel. And then that point halfway between the navel and the pubic bone is called Basti, Basti, which literally is Sanskrit for bladder. So Hridaya, Nabhi, and Basti are all key Marma points that are related not only to the home sites of the doshas, but also to circulation, digestion, reproduction, and also the chakras. And as we will be working with the chakras in the Polarity, Ayurveda, and Marma trainings, to know that it relates to the fourth chakra, the third chakra, and the second chakra, respectively. So those are some of the sorts of ways that Polarity, Ayurveda, and Marma meet in the present moment.
Yes, beautiful. Yes. Thank you. I love the added information.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, anybody else have any questions or anything to add at the moment? Don't see any hands. So,
announcements.
Great. Yes, announcements. Perfect. So one announcement that we wanted to say is that first give you our contact information, right? Some basic information. So trainings and information that we have on upcoming classes are going to be on both of our websites, but I'll give yours because it's kind of the main website. So Amadea has the Institute of the Ayurvedic Polarity Therapy and Ayurvedic Yoga and Polarity.
No, you were right.
Did I do it right?
Got it,
Okay.
got it.
Ayurvedic Polarity Therapy and Yoga
APTYI.
Institute. Yes. So you can find information there at Amadea Morningstar. It's spelled just like it sounds. AMADEA Morningstar.net. N-E-T. And you'll go under Institute and then under classes and then under Polarity Therapy trainings is where information about this integrated work now lives. And there will be periodic updates to that. We have some tiny workshops that we are setting dates for. Those are going to be happening seasonally. And then we have a big, some online offerings and some larger classes that are going to be offered beginning in 2020.
Yeah.
So, so anyway, so check that out.
Yep.
And if you have any questions or anything for me, my website is LivingEnergyTherapy.com. And you can reach me there. My name again is Sarah McDaniel Valencia. This is Amadea Morningstar. And do we have other announcements or anything you wanted to add?
I think that's mainly it. And we're very soon, we've got a couple of the online required courses for the polarity training coming up.
Yes.
But we'll be and we also have a new CE manager that we'll be introducing hopefully soon.
Yes.
So those things will be coming forward in future Zooms.
Yes. Great.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions in the meantime, please check out our websites. Our contact information is on them.
AmadeaMorningstar.net.
Yes.
The Institute classes.
Yes, and polarity therapy trainings, and LivingEnergyTherapy.com.
Great.
And thank you so much for being with us, for sharing your time, for being present. And I look forward to seeing you. Oh, we have these Zooms monthly.
Yep.
Usually the first Wednesday of the month. They're announced on my Facebook page and on Amadea's Facebook page, I believe.
Yep.
So my Facebook page is Living Energy Therapy.
And mine is Amadea Morningstar.
Yep. Great.
So do join us again.
Yes, please.
And watch for the next one next month.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Take care.
All right.